Welcome and aloha. I'm Marina Yamamoto with Beach Villa Realty, and I'm excited to share about lease options and how this strategy is a powerful way to maximize the profitability of your property. Selling as a lease option will net you more than any other way of selling. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a homeowner looking to explore new opportunities, this method offers unique advantages that can significantly enhance your financial outcomes. It even allows owners with no equity to get cash up front instead of having to pay money to sell their home. In this training, I'll be covering what a lease option is and who is lease option selling ideal for, how the lease option sale is more profitable than a regular sale, why lease option buyers are better than tenants who are just renting, is there a market for it in Hawaii? We'll cover that, and the what if situations and how you're protected by these situations in the contract. So by the end of this training, you will have a very educated perspective on this method, and you will be able to make an educated decision as to whether or not this is a good selling method for you. So what is a lease option? What exactly is it? Simply put, a lease option, also known as rent to own, it's a contract where the tenant leases your property with the option to buy it at a later date. In order for the tenant to have this option to buy at a later date, they have to pay an upfront option fee, which is non-refundable, and a monthly rent that may or may not include a portion credited towards the purchase price. It's entirely up to you how you want to structure the deal. The tenant buyer's non-refundable upfront option payment is credited towards the purchase if they decide to buy. But if they don't, if they decide to move on, you keep that option payment and get it again if you were to list it to a new rent-to-own buyer. This structure provides flexibility and can attract tenants who are serious about purchasing but need to secure financing or improve their credit. For example, I worked with a buyer who has a handful of homes for sale on the mainland. His credit didn't allow for him to get a mortgage. He's older and doesn't want to have to move multiple times, so he doesn't want to rent something while he waits for his mainland properties to sell. He wanted a lease purchase so that he could move into the home now. Then he can buy with cash once his homes on the mainland sell. And he has a sizable chunk of cash available to pay an upfront option payment. There happens to be a lot of people who are cash rich but can't qualify for a loan. The profit potential of lease options. Now let's talk about why this can be more profitable for you as a homeowner. First, lease option buyers are often willing to pay a premium for the right to purchase the property in the future. This means you can set a higher purchase price compared to a traditional sale. The sale is also going to be executed in the future, say 1 to 3 years into the future, depending on how you want to structure your deal. So you need to take into account the fact that the property values will probably increase over time, as they do here in Hawaii. On top of that, you'll collect an option fee upfront, which is non-refundable, giving you immediate income. Plus, if the tenant exercises their option to buy, you've secured a buyer at a higher price. And if they don't, you keep that option fee and relist the property, potentially collecting another option fee. How much is the option payment? Well, it can be anywhere between 3 and 10% of the purchase price. So when I market your property, I don't list how much the non-refundable option payment is. I only list what the sale price is and the rent amount. The tenant buyers submit how much they are offering for the option payment with their offer. So this becomes one of the major factors that you use to decide on what offer you want to accept. If you are hesitant about being a landlord, these are better tenants. Option buyers are not just renters, okay? They're future home buyers. This means they have a vested interest in maintaining the property because they plan to buy it. You're also likely to attract more stable and reliable tenants since they're already committed to the option fee and are working towards owning the home. They're more likely to treat your home as their own, which reduces the risk of property damage and lowers maintenance costs for you. To prevent you from having to deal with every little issue that comes up, we write into the contract that the tenant is responsible for any repairs up to $500. After that, your homeowner's insurance will take care of it. So you do have to have homeowner's insurance in order to sell as a lease to a lease option buyer. Is there a market for it? If you're thinking, wow, this sounds great. In fact, it's way better than just renting. I'm tired of renting. This is great for tired landlords, actually. But is there a market for it? Yes, as a realtor, I can tell you I get a lot of requests from buyers wanting this option because they can't qualify for a loan just yet, or maybe they want to wait for interest rates to drop. But they want to move into a home that feels like it's theirs. As a lease option tenant buyer, the deed is not in their name, but they can work towards becoming a homeowner, and that means a lot. Lease options actually appeal to more buyers than your traditional buyer. I would even say, according to these stats, 67% of the population, more than half, because 16% of Americans have a credit score below 580, according to FICO right now. Low credit scores make it hard to qualify for the loan, but they can work up to it. So while they are living in the home that they want to eventually buy, they can be working on their credit, and then when they're able to, they can go ahead and purchase the property. 11% of Americans are credit invisible, meaning they have no credit history at all, and then they've got a lot to work on. Debt to income ratio is a big deal when it comes to qualifying for a loan, and 40% of Americans have a debt to income ratio over 43%. Hawaii has the highest debt to income ratio in the nation, and this is something that can also be worked on while they are living in the home that they are lease optioning. Bring down that ratio to under 43% so that they can qualify for a loan. So there is actually a broader pool of buyers for a lease option listing versus a regular for sale home. Okay, so if you're wondering why realtor that you've spoken to in the past, or why you just haven't even heard about this from anyone, why you haven't been presented this option before when it comes to selling your home, and it's simply because realtors aren't trained in this at all. I've been licensed for 3 years now, and I learned about this through other classes that I've taken as an investor courses before I got my license. And after I got my license, I wanted to help sellers with this technique and buyers. There was no training as a realtor for this, so I had to teach myself this basically from the realtor's perspective. And fortunately, I had learned it through the investor way without a license, and so that's what allowed me to see that the opportunity was there, and that yes, I can help clients with this as their realtor. And it's actually better for you to work with a realtor than to work with an investor. I won't get into that in this video, but I'll probably make a video about that. So let's look at the silver lining of tenants moving on. Now you might be wondering, what if the tenant decides not to buy? Here is the beauty of the lease option strategy. It's actually a win-win situation, if you couldn't tell already. As the tenant moves out, you're still collecting the non-refundable option fee and rental income during their lease period. And then you can relist your property under another lease option agreement, collecting a new option fee from a new tenant. And the cycle can continue as long as you want it to, increasing your overall income compared to a one-time sale. If you're in a situation where you want your property to actually sell within a certain time frame, then that is how we will structure your deal, and that is how we will vet your buyers and their offers as they come in. We do credit checks on tenants before they move in, and if you want to make sure that your house is sold within a certain time, then we will do our best to connect that buyer with a mortgage broker who will work with them to do what they need to do in order to qualify for a loan. And in worst case scenario, we'll go over that next in the what if situations. If they aren't able to in the end, then you can just relist your home as a for sale, and you'll have built equity by then and should be able to just close to a traditional buyer. Who is a lease option ideal for? What type of seller will do this? Lease options are particularly advantageous for homeowners who aren't in a rush to sell but want to maximize their property's value. It's also really ideal if your property isn't attracting traditional buyers quickly, or if you are over leveraged on your property, you don't have any equity, and you would end up having to pay money to sell your property. If you list it as a lease option, you will actually be able to make money up front and save yourself with so much headache. This method is especially useful if you want to generate steady rental income without the typical risks and headaches associated with traditional rentals. Lease options can turn what might seem like a challenging sale into a lucrative opportunity. Okay, realtor commissions explained. As a lease option realtor, I charge what will work according to your deal. Every deal is extremely different, and commissions are not a set in stone thing. They are negotiable. We come to an agreement on a commission fee, and then I only charge half of that at the beginning. I don't really want to go into many details about this because of the fact that anyone can see this and copy or compete. So this is something I like to discuss with you personally one-on-one. But I do want to say that this is a two-part process that needs a realtor's assistance at both points of the transaction: the initial listing as a lease option, and assistance in getting a tenant buyer under contract and moving in, and then again when they execute their right to purchase at a later date. So let's talk about the what ifs. What if I want to sell by a certain deadline, but the tenant buyer isn't currently qualified to get a mortgage? If this is the case, the agreement will include a clause that says the tenant buyer must work with the mortgage broker, who can coach them through a plan that will get them qualified. And we do credit checks on applicants, so you will have a good idea of the situation you're in and if it's possible for them to reach the goal of buying. The agreement will be for a certain amount of time, and if the tenant buyer can't execute their right to buy before the deadline, the tenant must move out, forfeit their non-refundable option payment, and the owner can list the home for sale. What if they still don't buy by the end of the term? According to what you're willing to do, here are your options. You could extend the agreement, and you can find a new tenant buyer to receive another non-refundable option payment, or you can sell the home. It really depends on your situation and your needs. What if your house gets ruined by the tenant buyer? In this majorly unlikely situation, the owner will file a claim with their insurance company, and this is why the contract must include an agreement requiring the owner to have homeowners insurance. What if the property requires repairs during the lease period? Our lease option agreement states that the tenant buyer is responsible for the first $500 in repairs per occurrence. The owner's insurance will need to cover anything over this amount. What if you want to refinance your mortgage before the tenant closes on the purchase? This is okay as long as the balance of your new loan is less than what you agreed to sell it for. Otherwise, you will have to pay money to sell your home because you'll receive less than what you owe on the new mortgage. If you're ready to explore how a lease option can work for your property, the first step is to assess your property and determine the right pricing strategy. And I'm here to help guide you through every step of this process, from setting up the agreement to finding the right tenants. If you're watching this video on YouTube, there is a link in the description to my website where you can fill out some information about your property that I will then use to evaluate the potential sale price, option payment, and rent for your property. If you're already on my website, go ahead and find that form to get a free assessment. I offer personalized consultations to help you tailor the strategy to your unique situation. Let's work together to make your property work harder for you. Thank you for joining me on this training session. If you're ready to take the next step or have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can schedule a free consultation with me today. Let's turn your property into a powerful income generating asset. I look forward to working with you and maximizing the potential of your property. Thanks for being here. Aloha.